of nose mask made a facility to maintain a safer and healthier environment. TLML has had an eventful decade. Even through the pandemic, the entire workforce rallied to make sure that every commitment to our customer was met. The Excellence in Export and the Best COD awards we received during the air show earlier this year is a testament to that. Congratulations to Team TLML on delivering 150 plus empennages with many more to come. We have a bright future ahead of us. We've had an amazing 10 years, and I can't wait to see how TLML grows and succeeds in the years to come. Go TLML! The TLML team in Hyderabad, India, from the C-130 production line here in Marietta, Georgia. It is an honor to represent Lockheed Martin as we offer congratulations for the delivery of the 150th TLML-built C-130 Empennage. I hope each of you takes great pride in knowing your work is an important part of every new C-130J Super Hercules airlifter we deliver. These empennages help C-130 crews support critical missions close to home and around the globe. Also represented in these 150 empennages is a successful joint venture between TATA and Lockheed Martin, which celebrated its 10th anniversary just last year. Supporting the Make in India initiative is very important to TATA and Lockheed Martin, and these empennages are a very visible reminder of our partnership and shared commitment to exemplify Make in India. In fact, the Indian industry is a significant contributor to every C-130 built for our domestic and global customers. COVID-19 has made the past 18 months quite difficult and trying for all of us. The Lockheed Martin team was especially aware of the challenges India faced earlier this year as COVID-19 cases increased. Complications posed by this pandemic, the TLML has honored its commitment to our operators, delivering empennages on or ahead of schedule. As we've seen throughout this situation, C-130s are much tasked in supporting COVID relief efforts. C-130Js also continue to play a role in major disaster, peacekeeping, and humanitarian missions close to home and around the globe. Thanks to your work and the empennages you build, you help our C-130 operators reach great heights with the noble missions the Super Hercules support. On a personal note, Kurt let me know that almost 100% of all TLML employees have received a dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, with more than half receiving their second dose. Now that is an impressive feat, reflecting commitment and admirable responsibility on your part. Thank you all for your dedication to TLML, Lockheed Martin, and C-130 from both a personal and professional perspective. Take care, stay safe, and congratulations on this magnificent achievement.
That was lovely. Let us continue the festivities with the lamp lighting ceremony. May I please request Honorable Minister Shri KTR Garu, Shri Jayashanjan Garu, Mr. Joel Ratman, and Mr. Bill Blair, and Mr. Sachin Singh to please join me on the dais for the lamp lighting ceremony.
shared values and the shared purpose that both Tata and Lockheed Martin had, not just for the aerospace industry, but also in the way that we approach business in general. And so it's been a great journey throughout in those 10 years. I've had the privilege of being part of every milestone that we've had. Just a little history. I think before the Empennage came to India, it had been made in the United States for close to 50 years. And there was a project in the middle to try and move it within the United States, but didn't go as well as it should have. And so when this program came to India, there was obviously hesitation about how well this would perform. At the end of the day, there are concerns always in a greenfield site, plus a highly complex program like this. I think today we are seeing the fruition of all of those efforts, but right up front, the greenfield facility was built in 9 months. We did all the engineering again in those 9 months, and the first product was out in less than a year and a half. And that pace has continued as time has gone along. But what has given me the greatest satisfaction was that when the first product from TATA Lockheed Martin went to the Marietta final assembly line, typically when the products were coming from the earlier supplier, they required what are called shims to fill up the gap. But because of all the engineering work that the TATA Lockheed Martin team had done along with Lockheed Martin and many other companies, the product fit perfectly. There wasn't a solution. And that actually was proof not just of the workmanship that TATA Lockheed Martin showed, but also more importantly the engineering efforts that were there prior to that. And I think for that a big round of applause to both TATA Lockheed Martin and the Lockheed Martin team. In this journey, I think TATA Lockheed Martin has generated close to about $300 million of exports. There's also a very large supplier base that we've developed in India now. Many small companies that were in other industries, I'd say automotive or any other kinds of manufacturing. The team has taken on the onus of upscaling their standards to meet the global aerospace industry. And today, many of them are not just suppliers to TATA Lockheed Martin and Lockheed Martin, but have also stepped up to be a part of the global supply chain of many other aerospace OEMs. So right up front, the JV was formed with the objective of furthering the Make in India initiatives, even at the time that it was not known as Make in India. There are about 700 people that work in TATA Lockheed Martin, but there's also a tremendous role that TATA Lockheed Martin has played in the overall Tata Aerospace and Defense enterprise. I think we've had many people who have worked in TATA Lockheed Martin who have then gone on and taken leadership positions at many of our other ventures. And so TATA Lockheed Martin continues to be a relationship and a program that we are immensely proud of. It's probably one of the programs where it has gone off the smoothest without any problems, with tremendous support that we've got from Lockheed Martin throughout. I must also take a moment here, and I would be remiss if I didn't do this, to highlight the contribution of the state government. KTR and Mr. Jayesh Ranjan have always been there for us. There have been several roadblocks which in any other situation would have been quite devastating. But in Telangana they were just dealt with very calmly, and we must thank the state government for their support. Thank you very much, sir. The initial Empennage had parts that we were getting from the United States. As you may have seen, the parts very large, and at that point in time in India there wasn't the capability to build those kind of parts. But in the last 10 years I'm quite delighted to say that we have reached enormous levels of indigenization, close to about 85 to 90%. We also put in place very complex technologies like stretch form, metal to metal bonding, that again are not just fulfilling the purpose of increasing the indigenization in India, but also building the larger ecosystem. I think I can only echo Kiran's words, what lies ahead of us. I think this is just the first stepping stone towards me, and I want to thank each one of my colleagues for the work, and more importantly your families for the support that they provided during all of these difficult times. Thank you. Good luck. Good luck.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to be here, and I want to say I'm somewhat nostalgic on this event, and just give you a little bit of perspective. You know, for me, I first met the TATA leadership that had a vision to grow and invest and expand aerospace defense in India, and for the world. And that was in a room just like this back in around 2006, 2007 time frame. Sukha and I were trying to determine if we actually met at that time frame. And we were all positioned as foreign OEMs for the MMRCA, the Multi-Role Fighter Combat Aircraft Competition, and engaging a lot of companies that actually had this vision to grow in aerospace and defense. And I'm really happy to be here because you can see TATA has accomplished that. TATA Lockheed Martin has accomplished that together here in building up the ecosystem of suppliers. We have over 300 suppliers that we count that feed in both into the joint venture as well as into our global supply chain. And that's made up of companies from all over India, but many of them based here in Telangana. And the largest production of exports from India to the U.S. is from right here in Hyderabad. We count over 600 million. We're conservative. I think it's probably over 700 million if we really add it all up. Over 150 empennages in total. We also have the Tata Sikorsky joint venture. We acquired Sikorsky a little over 5-6 years ago, and it's a tremendous relationship and partnership. And I complimented, and I have to compliment the passion and the persistence and the vision to make it happen. It wasn't easy, and I do know my first visit to TML was actually in the 2010-2011 time frame. I was working with another OEM at the time, and I always held it up as the highest example of what can be done. You saw it in the video, how quickly they built the facility and delivered the first empennage. And as part of the Javelin joint venture, trying to replicate that, because we saw that as probably the best case example. And as Masood mentioned, the leaders that grew up through that then expanded. I was with GE Aviation even before that, and I just had a chance to see their facility yesterday. And I was mentioning to the minister, that's the highest level of technology production that I've seen till date in India. Highly complex parts. And so as we now here 10 years later, more than 10 years later, are positioning for the next fighter competition, I think we're in an incredibly wonderful position. So I want to say congratulations to the entire TATA Lockheed Martin team on the tremendous accomplishment of the 150th empennage, but more importantly, the accomplishment and really building up an ecosystem that is unmatched and I think really well positioned with the upcoming competition. So I want to say congratulations to you all. And Minister, KTR, we had a chance to meet when I came back to India after a long time. I am nostalgic because my wife is from India. We are passionate about driving growth in business and connections in India. And I have to compliment you and thank you because you've made it easy. The speed was because, and the pace of growth is because the state of Telangana and Hyderabad is so receptive and streamlining and making things happen and going through the challenges of COVID-19 that has touched absolutely everywhere in this room. I know that for sure, my family as well. Through that time, this team continued to deliver empennages and never missed a delivery, as you heard from our Vice President earlier. And so, in closing, of course, I want to say thank you. The future is incredibly bright. We'll be here 10 years from now, and the room will be bigger. We will be so far ahead, I think, of competing nations in the world in terms of that aspiring to really grow in the aerospace and defense sector and deliver the most important capabilities
that protect our citizens every day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Blair. I would now request Mr. Sukhwinder Singh, Managing Director and CEO for TATA Advanced Systems Limited, to please address the gathering.
Hi, good morning everyone, and welcome. And good morning, of course, to the Honourable Minister, KT and Mr. Jai Shanjan, and the other ministers and secretaries, and all my colleagues and friends and the Consul General. Thank you so much for being here. I think a lot has been said. I think it would be fair for me to simply, if I could, summarize that there are really three stakeholders where when we look back, we will recognize that it was a fairly interesting set of interactions between all these three that really has brought us to where we are and how we look forward. One, of course, is Tata's relationship with Lockheed. The other one is, of course, with the state of Telangana and the principals who have guided us so that we are here in the manner that we are. And the third, and I would say the very important, is with all of you, with all of the people who work here every day and who have worked in the past, maybe they're not in the room right now, who have made this work. And I think it's really important to perhaps reflect, and this is really an occasion to enjoy, celebrate, but also reflect, that each one of these has really are the three legs of the stool, and none of, if even one of them had not worked well, it would not have we would not have been here in the way that we are. I do remember when this whole project started, between Tata as a group and Lockheed Martin as a group, the sense of trust really made it all happen. I do remember that at the time our chairman, Mr. Tata, Mr. Ratan Tata, and Mr. Ralph Heath, who was the head of aeronautics of Lockheed Martin. Aeronautics, of course, as you know better than I do, is the division under which of Lockheed all of this sits. I do remember literally one afternoon, frankly, Mr. Tata saying that he just shook hands with Mr. Ralph Heath, and they decided to make this happen. In effect, it was just that, a matter of trust. And we always see that in our own lives, that works better than all sorts of terms and conditions and so on and so forth. I also remember a statement that Ralph Heath made at the time, that he really wanted to see the logo of Lockheed and Tata on the same building. And that stayed with me, because it shows on Lockheed's side as well that there was a sense of pride in this relationship. And I think that pride and trust really caused the teams, negotiating teams, my colleague Masood, I and many others at the time. I do remember guys who have probably retired from Lockheed at the time, Rohit Rai and Angelo and Brandy, all these names come to me, and I know that they are, hopefully they will listen somewhere wherever they are. I do remember that even after that we spent 2 years to negotiate this project. But in all of that, and we went through many ups and downs in our negotiation, in our contractual negotiation, but I think what, it always sort of made me think that I think if there was no overarching trust and wanting to make it happen under all circumstances, I'm sure the discussions would have broken off many times, because such were the issues to solve. This was an ITAR project, first time in India, first time by Tata's, as was told, 50 years being done in the US, overnight to be transferred as a single source to India. There were many firsts in this, and it did take us a long time, in fact, including the Obama years when there was a concern on the US side that it would cause some issues with jobs and all that there, but they still plugged on. And really it speaks to the trust that Lockheed and Tata's at the senior most level decided to have in each other, and that trust, goes without saying, has allowed us to continue to think of this as a very special relationship, where to the extent that today all our major next strategic campaigns in the country, to the extent that Tata Advanced Systems involved, we decided to actually do it together with Sikorsky and Lockheed. And I think I'm certainly glad that we do this. It's a wonderful relationship. The second thing, of course, is, as has already been mentioned by both Masood and Bill, our relationship with the second very key stakeholder, which is the state of Telangana. And if I may take the liberty of noting that it is without doubt a state where I think we all feel very connected. We feel that we will be heard, and on the merits of the case, very quickly they will try to resolve it to the benefit of the state as well as the joint venture for all sorts of issues. And I think for this, my personal thanks to Mr. KTR and Mr. Jayesh Ranjan, because that's what I keep hearing, is that when we hit a problem, the teams tell me, okay, well, we know that we will actually finally get it resolved. And I think that sense of trust that has emerged is an invaluable asset. I can only say personally that I'm sure we will all look back at all these gatherings that we meet once in a while as special occasions where we came together and celebrated. It's Lockheed today, it was another company day before yesterday or whatever it is. But over time, I'm sure we will cherish these coming togethers and recognize that somewhere there was a jointness which caused this thing to come together. And so thank you so much for all your help. And of course, the biggest, if I may put it that way, are the people who work here. And I will not go too much into this. Time is short, but I would simply say that people say that this is a build-to-print project, but actually the biggest innovation in my mind goes into industrializing and creating that industrial system that works to produce good quality, best quality at the right price at the right time. Those three things to come together in rate production is probably one of the more complex things that gets done in an industrial setup, which the team here has managed to accomplish time and time again. And imagine the sense of responsibility that must have happened when the recognition is there that you're transferring something that has worked fairly well for half a century in America to be done out here. It is really remarkable to have that sense of confidence and sincerity that yes, we will make it work. So I just want to note the fact that I think you all are participating in one of the more innovative industrial efforts in the country. And I think you should all be very, very proud of that. Of course, it's very interesting. I'm sure you go back home and you talk about the fact that you're also geopolitically connected. After all, Afghanistan, we've heard that C-130s played a stellar role in evacuations, and I would imagine out of the 150 products that you have built, some of those aircraft might actually have participated in that. So certainly, I think it's an interesting thing to note. And I would simply end by saying that you all as a team should not only be happy and satisfied that you're part of a very innovative industrial activity, but now you're also part of going forward of one of, perhaps if I could sort of say, one of the fastest growing aerospace and defense companies in the private sector in the country, and hopefully in the region, where we now have many different divisions where the kind of work that is being done whether it is in the R&D or the production or supply chain or what have you, is a very vast expanse where we do things not just at the aircraft level, but also at missile level, at amphibious vehicles level, at recently a gun system level, and we are all part of the same company. We have these constructs which we all have to have of joint ventures and structures and locations, but really you're part of the same company. So I would simply say that the fact that you are part of one of the what I would hope is one of the more interesting companies in heavy engineering, in complex engineering, in achieving something, making something, I hope that keeps you energized every morning you come. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. I would now like to request Shri Jayashanjan Garu, Principal Secretary of Industries and Commerce and Information Technology for the Government of Telangana, to please address the gathering.
Honorable Mr. KTR, Excellency CG Reitman, Mr. Blair, Mr. Sukhant Singh, Mr. Masood, Mr. Vishal, Mr. Kiran, my colleague Pravi, Senior Representative from TATA from Lockheed. My heartfelt congratulations for this wonderful milestone. Big congratulations once again to both the teams of TASL and Lockheed Martin. This is indeed a very proud moment for all of us, including us in the government. In fact, in many of our investment pitches, we give the example of Lockheed Martin. I remember Phil Shaw, who used to be there before William. I have heard him in countless meetings, lots of important national events like Aero India, etc., where he would speak with so much of admiration for Telangana, something which William also did. And some of the things which he also testified about the speed of execution of the project, the quality of workmanship. In fact, I remember Phil mentioning that the speed with which this factory came up in Hyderabad, even the ones in the US took longer than this. So shows the fact that the ease of doing business, the support, the conducive ecosystem that we have been able to create for you. And another remarkable thing which I mentioned in our investment pitches is the fact that we are bringing more and more investments to Telangana. We started with the Empennage project, but I know that you have started the metal bonding facility. In fact, I was present when that facility was inaugurated. And thereafter, your very momentous decision to manufacture the wings of the F-16 aircraft, which you announced year before. So we always feel that the fact that an investor is finding the going to be very good, is bringing his second investment, his third investment to the same location, is the biggest testimony of the fact that we have a very business-friendly policy, very forward-looking policy. The government machinery from the minister's level to the ground level is always willing and available to help and assist. So these are some of the shining examples to show that Telangana ought to become the most preferred destination for serious investors who are looking at India. And I do hope that we know that both TASL and Lockheed are contemplating newer projects in this country, and we do hope that you will continue to repose your faith and confidence in Telangana and Hyderabad, and we have many more milestones like these to celebrate in the future. Heartiest congratulations once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. I now request Mr. Joel Reitman, Consul General for the United States Consulate in Hyderabad, to please address the gathering.
Good
thank you for the warm welcome. I am proud to join you today on behalf of the United States government to mark another impressive milestone in our strong and growing bilateral defense partnership. I'd like to acknowledge among our guests today my friend, the Honorable Telangana Minister for IT Ministries, KTR, and Secretary TATA Lockheed leadership on the occasion of your 150th C-130J Empennage to specifically thank Bill Blair, Sukaran Singh, and Masood Hussain for their work in holding this event today. I have seen firsthand the skill and dedication of TATA Lockheed Martin employees when I toured your facility and witnessed the precision in which you manufacture components. These parts contribute to some of the finest aircraft in the world, and as a former U.S. Air Force officer myself, I can testify the faith our country places in your contributions. The strategic partnership between the United States and India is strong and growing stronger, and the Defense Technology and Trade Initiative is a key component of our relationship. Bilateral defense trade with India has grown from essentially zero in 2008 to an impressive $18 billion by the end of 2020. The United States welcomes India's growing defense capabilities and its commitment to a shared vision for peace, security, and prosperity in the Indo-Pacific. In 2016, the United States officially designated India as a major defense partner, affording India the opportunity to buy more advanced and sensitive technologies from the United States on par with our closest allies and partners. In 2018, we signed the Bilateral Communications Compatibility and Security Arrangement called the COMCASA, and this is a technology sharing pact that enables our countries to exchange information over secure communication lines during bi- and multinational operations. In 2020, we finalized the Basic Exchange and Cooperation Agreement for Geospatial Cooperation, or BECA, which permits the exchange of unclassified controlled products, topographical, nautical, aeronautical data between the United States and the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. In addition, the U.S. Consul General in Hyderabad supported several recent military visits and exchanges, or at least recent before COVID. And that culminated in the first ever U.S.-India Tri-Services Amphibious Exercise, Tiger Trident. I was fortunate to witness that, in which 1,200 Indian and 500 U.S. soldiers, sailors, and airmen took part. And in December 2019, our consulate sponsored the U.S.-India Defense Ties Conference. The defense industry has, moreover, demonstrated its commitment to partnering with India to provide the highest quality, most reliable, and most technically advanced defense equipment and systems in the world. The United States is already among India's top major defense suppliers, and we see new opportunities opening up as our ties between our countries deepen. Telangana has played a major role in the remarkable success of this aspect of our bilateral relationship, with more than 30,000 people directly and indirectly employed in the defense and aerospace sector in Hyderabad. Hyderabad is emerging as a national hub in that area. I'd like to conclude with an expression of gratitude that underscores the partnership between the United States and the state of Telangana. In the spring of 2020, during the earliest, the scariest, and the strictest stage of the lockdown, Lockheed needed to timely complete and ship via Mumbai an Empennage needed on the Marietta, Georgia assembly line for a U.S. Air Force C-130. I called the Honorable KTR and explained the need to broaden emergency exceptions to the lockdown. It didn't take much explaining. KTR got it immediately, and Telangana even helped with overland shipping. The Empennage arrived in a timely, cost-effective manner. So I want to congratulate TATA Lockheed, I want to congratulate the state of Telangana, and I look forward to attending more milestone celebrations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eichmann. I would now request Shri K.T. Ramarao Garu, Honorable Minister of Municipal Administration, Urban Development, Industries and Commerce and Information Technology for the Government of Telangana to please address the gathering.
Thank you to the Consul General for his very kind words, very generous. Thank you, Joel. Blair, thank you again for all the generous words, for your efforts, all the efforts that you put into improve the aerospace ecosystem in the country, in India, that is in various roles, various capacities. Thank you very much for that. And of course, Supern, but for Tatas, I don't think we would have been having so many of these occasions, so many of these milestones. Just last month, I think it was the 100th fuselage for Boeing, and now it is the 150th empennage for Lockheed. So my compliments to you, Masood, and the entire team of Tata Advanced Systems Limited. My compliments to you and the entire team on that as well. And Kiran and the entire team of the Tata Lockheed, Aerospace Limited. My compliments to you also on developing and growing wonderfully well in the last 1 decade. And like Joel said, of course, I wish to be a part of many of these milestones also going down the road, hopefully many more to come. Thank you, Praveen, for all the good work that you've been doing. And Jayesh, of course, he's there all the time. He's one guy who has been constantly supporting the industry. We've been working together, Jayesh, for the last 7 years now, and I can tell you, I can vouch that no matter what it was, COVID or any other circumstances, GST issues or anything that you need support on, Jayesh has been terrific. Now, Lockheed and Tata's here. Now you have reached a fantastic milestone. I'd like to congratulate the entire leadership, of course. But as was pointed out by Bill, Lockheed has two very important partnerships here. One, of course, in the form of Tata Lockheed Martin Aerostructures Limited. The second, of course, again, Tata Sikorsky. Both very important. These two JVs, in fact, have employed more than 1,000 people, and more than $100 million, I believe, has been invested. And if you look at the export numbers, they look even more impressive. Today, of course, on the C-130J, which is a very popular product, which is used by 26 operators and across 22 nations, I'm told, including India. It's an honor that Hyderabad has been the home for this manufacturing facility. I'm also told that this globally acclaimed aircraft has now, in fact, been doing substantial business, has been giving substantial business rather to the facility in Hyderabad. It's also heartening to note that the TLMAL is increasing its indigenization percentage over the years. And today, more than 85% of the C-130J empennage detailed parts that were previously imported are currently being manufactured from Hyderabad. This is a significant demonstration because, as was pointed out, I think by Masood, more than 300, suppliers, vendors, partners, that ecosystem has been growing steadily and rapidly under the slogan, Make in India. I'm also told that cutting-edge manufacturing capabilities are being added on a monthly basis and a yearly basis, adding more and more people and adding more and more capabilities. Besides the C-130J, Tata and Lockheed Martin also, as I pointed out, produce the Sikorsky S-92 cabin at their state-of-the-art factory in Hyderabad. I never ever fail to remind any of my potential investors that the US President's helicopter cabin is also made from Hyderabad. So the other day, the Civil Aviation Minister of Government of India was here. And when I mentioned the same to him, he smiled and he said, not only the cabin, we need to get other stuff also manufactured from Hyderabad. So hopefully that day also would happen, and I hope that will happen from within Telangana and from Hyderabad. The TATA Lockheed Martin partnership in Hyderabad is a glowing example to the collaboration between India and the United States, which is anchored in Telangana. Similar strong partnerships are established with other US majors such as Boeing and GE Aviation, also from Hyderabad. The fact that the Indo-US joint ventures are based in Hyderabad could industrialize and ramp up complex global manufacturing programs in such a fast pace is a great testimony, as Jayesh Ranjan said, for the robustness and for the ease of doing business capabilities of the Hyderabad aerospace ecosystem and the policy support. The aerospace and defense sector in Telangana has been witnessing very steady and also unprecedented growth, especially in the last 5 years. Even during the COVID-19 pandemic, I am happy to share with you that none of the units here that have been functioning from Hyderabad have had to suspend their operations or have had to go through a long phase of shutdown. A very temporary blip, if I may put it, and then all of your employees, in fact, have shown great deal of courage and resilience to show up and to actually deliver on the global service level agreements that you have. Telangana, in fact, also has been able to attract mega investments from leading foreign and domestic aerospace majors through our progressive policies, world-class infrastructure, proactive skilling initiatives, and focus on innovation. Two things I'd like to point out in this context. One, for any of these ventures to be successful, of course, I was looking at the video very keenly. I saw that there were, among your employees, I saw that there were many from various parts of India. There were people from Karnataka, there were people from Maharashtra, somebody from Orissa, that is. What I really loved was the kind of cosmopolitan, profile of the employees that the TLMAL team had presented. But of course, I would love to see more people from Telangana being employed in all of your future plans. So therefore, we have two very important initiatives that I would like to quickly point out. One, we've been working very closely with many of the leading industry players, many of the leading academic partners as well, to set up an aerospace and defense university or a center of excellence in Hyderabad. I think that will again go a long way in attracting good talent and ensuring that there is a constant stream of personnel that you can readily employ. The other thing I also wanted to point out, because what continues to remain an important focus for the government of Telangana is the innovation piece. Now, innovation in this particular aerospace ecosystem is something that we believe is extremely important, because we already have a number of defense labs in Hyderabad. These are all Government of India institutions that have been set up over the last few decades. We've been in discussions with DRDO, we've been in discussions with several other labs, and I urge the industry here also to work closely with Government of Telangana to come out so we could partner and come out with a strong defense/aerospace incubator where we could focus solely on ensuring that many startups and many more ideas and many more products also will help you in furthering your business and furthering the opportunities. The other thing that I quickly wanted to point out, the state of Telangana, in fact, is also emerging as an aero engine cluster. Global aerospace players such as Pratt & Whitney and CFM have their only engine training centers in India, in Hyderabad. GE also has set up a center of excellence in aero engines, while Safran has established an aero engine factory, manufacturing complex engine parts. We are now having discussions with various OEMs to bring aero engine MROs into our aerospace ecosystem. In fact, we are the first state in India to have come up with our own drone policy. Last week, in fact, we had the honor of launching a very unique project in partnership with the World Economic Forum called as the Medicine from the Sky, in the presence of Honorable Civil Aviation Minister, Government of India. Thereby, we became the first state to launch delivery of vaccines and life-saving medicines to the most remote parts of the state using drones. To support the booming drone industry, we also have plans to establish a drone testing corridor within the state very soon. Hyderabad again also has a very significant space sector cluster which are part of the various ISRO programs. Over 30% of the components of MOM, which is the Mars Orbital Mission, are manufactured from Hyderabad's small and medium enterprises. We have some very promising homegrown startups which are pioneering private sector space industry initiatives such as launch of missiles, etc., all based out of Hyderabad again, including a very prominent company which was in news recently called as Skyroot. In recognition to our initiatives to support aerospace sector and progress made so far, Ministry of Civil Aviation has awarded Telangana the Best State Award consecutively for 2018 and 2020 as a state with the most progressive outlook towards aerospace sector. Hyderabad is also ranked as the #1 global aerospace city in cost effectiveness by the Financial Times FDI Future Aerospace Cities rankings given for 2020. Let me conclude and thank both Tata and Lockheed Martin for your continued expansion in Telangana, and let me also assure you once again, as we've been supporting you all along, we will continue to do so further as well. Thank you very much. Heartfelt congratulations.
Thank you very much, sir. Now we would like to commemorate this occasion of the 150th C-130J Empennage delivery. May I please request Mr. Sukhran Singh, on behalf of TATA Lockheed Martin Aerostructures, to present the Certificate of Conformance document to Mr. Bill Blair, receiving it on behalf of Lockheed Martin Aeronautics. Thank you, sirs, very much. May I now request our very own Mr. Kiran Lambala, Chief Operating Officer of TATA Lockheed Martin Aerostructures Limited, to present the vote of thanks.
Once again, I'd like to say congratulations to Team Tilamal on this amazing achievement and many more to come, as I've said. So I'd like to thank Honorable Minister Shri KT Ramarao Garu and Principal Secretary Mr. Jayashantan Garu, Consul General Mr. Joel Reifman, leadership from Tata Advanced Systems as well as Lockheed Martin for taking time out of their busy schedule. I'd also like to thank Praveen and Andrew Edlifson and Theo for behind the scenes help in making sure that we can have this event flawlessly without any issues. And of course, the team at Tilamal that made sure that the logistics was well managed. So with that, I'd like to thank everyone who attended, who's watching us. God bless, and we adjourn for lunch now. Thank you.